レッスン5の音読のトレーニングをしていきます。しっかり声を出して頑張っていきましょう。
On a clear night, you can look at the stars in the sky. Even though you cannot see it, you are also looking at the largest junkyard in the solar system. Placed higher than the highest clouds, but much closer than the moon, the junkyard stretches to 20,000 miles overhead. There are tens of millions of pieces of junk there. Some are rocks and dust from passing comets, but most are man-made and are called orbital debris. Most of the junk comes from large satellites and rockets that fell apart after they stopped working. Together, all the space junk would weigh about 11 million pounds on the Earth, or more than 3,000 cars. The largest piece is a part of a rocket about the size of a family car. The smallest piece is smaller than your fingernail. Most pieces fly through space at more than 20 times the speed that sound travels on the Earth. A small stone in orbit around the Earth can have as much energy as a bowling ball going 500 miles per hour or a car going 30 miles per hour. The junkyard is a serious problem for the future of space travel. You have thousands of satellites in orbit all the time. Without tracking debris, you cannot avoid collisions. In 1983, a small crack appeared in one window of the Space Shuttle Challenger while it was in space. That was caused by a small orbiting piece of paint. If the shuttle had been struck by a larger piece of junk, the astronauts might have been in danger. When the Space Shuttle Endeavour returned to the Earth, its body had small holes from space garbage hitting it. 2 satellites also have had to change direction to avoid collisions with big pieces of junk. The U.S. Space Surveillance Network and NASA work together to keep track of the largest pieces of space junk. When the shuttle is in orbit, for example, their attention is on nearby junk that might get in the way. If there is even a small chance of a collision, then the shuttle speeds up while changing direction. There are about 18,000 pieces of garbage larger than 4 inches. The Space Surveillance Network keeps a list of all these pieces with dozens of telescopes and antennas on the Earth and in space to watch them. Because all the pieces are in motion all the time, keeping track of them is difficult. The scientists have to know 2 things: where the garbage is now and where it is going to be in the future. The prediction of direction is not simple because the junk can move north or south, east or west, and up or down. They are always looking about 4 days into the future, tracking objects which might come close. Scientists cannot keep track of them all, however. Instead of watching each piece one by one, scientists watch one area of sky and count the number of pieces that pass overhead. With that small measurement, they can use a computer program to get a good idea of what the whole sky looks like. Like other environmental problems, space junk will get worse without careful attention. In the future, pieces of junk will probably hit each other, making even more trash. A team of engineers has been at work for years to develop a space cleanup satellite. The technology for this, however, is very expensive. Instead, we should try to stop adding new garbage. For example, engineers are changing the way they build spacecraft to minimize debris. A solution will require international cooperation. Guidelines for how to reduce the risk of space junk have already been approved. Countries have come together to address environmental problems, and if countries work together to control the amount of trash sent into space, we can probably keep the problem under control.